Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever the hell you are on planet Earth this fine Saturday. I'm Nickel Blanc. This is TitleTown Throwdown. We got a lot to get to, a lot to catch up on. I took a couple of weeks off because, well, vacation, and you know what? I deserve some time off. But, I'm back though. I'm ready to bitch and moan and complain just about everything that has to do about the Red Sox, Patriots, Bruins, Celtics, whatever. It don't matter. So we're going to start off the show today talking some baseball. Then we're going to get into some football. There's some NFL headlines that I do want to discuss it. Here to help me talk about everything that we need to talk about today, the host of The Clutch, the one, the only, my best friend, Devin Teledani. Devin.
Thank you. Hear me. Thank you for that applause, everyone. I appreciate all your condolences. That's a surprise.
Wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Good. So, man, let's get to it.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. Red Sox 6-4 in their last 10 games. A win last night against the Cleveland Indians. And really, the home run ball is a big factor. But, Devin, in your mind, what's been the biggest turnaround for the Red Sox here in the last 3 nights? Because the Red Sox, they had a very, very good heartfelt win on Wednesday night against the Rays, a shutout win Thursday night against Tampa, and then a very spirited win last night.
So, like we talked about on my show on Wednesday night, the Red Sox needed a big push, and they got it from Kyle Schwarber, from the pitching. Garrett Richards amazingly has a 0.69 ERA as a relief pitcher, which is amazing right now. So I think the biggest answer has been Hunter Renfroe and definitely Kyle Schwarber. He's been producing well for the Red Sox, getting singles, getting doubles, hitting some absolute piss missiles into the right field stands. And it feels like, for the Red Sox, they really need to stack up on Kyle Schwarber, because it seems like he's been the answer that the Red Sox have been waiting for and looking for the past year.
I mean, we saw the Richards experiment in the starting rotation from the beginning of the season up to about the Toronto series when he finally got moved to the bullpen, him and Martin Perez. And we just saw how bad Garrett Richards was. He had a good May. He had a very good May, but since then, after that, he just fell off a cliff and never to be heard from again. What are you thinking, for your mind, Devin, has been the biggest change for Garrett Richards between him starting the game, which should be downright scary at any point,
right?
Him coming out of the bullpen and him getting a 9-out save to preserve the shutout win?
Well, here's my question: where was this when he was a starting pitcher?
Because when yeah, thank you. I was asking this question like a month and a half ago.
Right, because every time you heard, "Oh, Garrett Richards is starting tonight," you're like, "Oh crap, here we go. 7 runs, we're gonna lose by 7-3 will be the final score." But no, Garrett Richards as a relief pitcher has been the best thing for the Boston Red Sox. Martin Perez has been another problem for the Red Sox, from him to being a starter to relief pitcher, but
just let him go bye-bye. Just let him
exactly. But for Garrett Richards, he's been like basically, besides Whitlock and Ottavino, he's been our best option to use in the bullpen right now. If you're looking for a 6-7 out save, go to Richards or go to Whitlock. Whitlock has been the best steal for the Boston Red Sox from our rivals, the New York Yankees, and we stole him and Ottavino for pretty cheap money. And if we keep this going along, you were on my show on Wednesday. You saw how upset and pissed we both were with the Boston Red Sox, and on Tuesday night, you and I were just like thinking, what does this Red Sox team have? Like we were talking, saying we don't have any nice things to say about the Boston Red Sox. Well, it seems like they've been listening into our conversations here and there, because this team has been going on a 3-game winning streak. If they win these next 2 games, they could be going on a 5, 6, hopefully 7, and maybe more. If this team can actually wake up and score the runs that we've been expecting last night, the night before, and whatnot, you're looking at a pretty decent AL wildcard team in the playoffs right now.
Last few shows I did before I took my little mini break and everything. It was an unplanned 2-week break. Unplanned. I do want to get that out, but I took it anyway. But I spent 3 shows just absolutely trashing the Red Sox management for not going out to do anything for this team at the beginning of this at the trade deadline when you were a game and a half up over the Tampa Bay Rays at the time. And really at the time I was saying that I want this team to start to show a little bit of spine, like you actually care. I think that spine is finally starting to show because you had the emergence of Chris Saleback in the 4 starts he's started in. He's 3-0, a sub-3 ERA, and the Red Sox are 4-0 in his starts. Nate Eovaldi seems to have finally figured it out again. Erod's looking like the 2019 Erod right now. The top of your rotation is looking really good. Pivetta, he's still up and down, but you know what? That's okay. Pivetta's at least been consistent. Would I like to see Pivetta get better here down in the month of September? Yes, because I think he could be a huge piece down the stretch. Whether it is Tanner Houck or you bring up Connor Siebold from Worcester, I believe he's playing in, or Portland, wherever he is. You put him in that mix too and put Houck and him in the bullpen, which is just completely decimated right now because with injuries to Hernandez, Sawamura, and Barnes on the COVID list, although they should be coming back rather soon. A lot of things are looking to trending upwards for the Red Sox. Finally, the first time we've seen this in 32, 33 days since July 30th?
Exactly. And I have some good news coming out of Boston Reporters that I just read this morning that Kike Hernandez, he will be activated from the COVID list come this Monday and Tuesday, which is perfect because we're playing the Tampa Bay Rays at home. Christian Arroyo will be activated from the COVID list by Wednesday or Thursday, which is great. We need a power-hitting second baseman like him. And our good old friend Xander Bogaerts, who just got COVID not even a couple days ago, he will be reactivated from the list come by the end of the week. So we're getting some good news out of the Boston Reporters and for the Red Sox. Hopefully no one else gets COVID. Jarren Duran, that was like another huge piece to have COVID yesterday.
Still unknown whether Duran tested positive, but finally, positive news out of the Red Sox.
Exactly. So, no more COVID. No more news.
Back TJ, Christian Arroyo, who's been probably a catalyst of that bench for you this year. You get Bogaerts back, ready to go. You can chase down the Yankees for the top wildcard spot. You only trail the Yankees by a game and a half.
Yeah.
That's not that bad. And you play the Yankees near the end of the month.
Right.
It's the Tampa Bay Rays. You're still 8 games behind them. You were down 10 games the other night. You'd made up those 2 games. Tampa won last night. Well, then they're playing the Minnesota Twins. The Yankees won last night. Then they're playing the Baltimore Orioles. You're playing the Minnesota Twins, who of the 2 are the better of the 3.
Exactly.
But even Cleveland is just around a 500 team, a team that you should be able to sweep.
Exactly. Tonight, this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon, we should easily sweep the Cleveland Indians. But come this week, we got some competition coming in with the Tampa Bay Rays.
Come this week, we got 3 against the next 9 games. 9 games in I believe, a 11-day stretch. You got a couple of off days built in there. Both of them on Thursdays, conveniently enough.
Which is very weird, I think, in my pursuit.
Conveniently enough, though. Conveniently enough. I'll take it, though. You got 3 against the Rays here at Fenway Park on Monday through Wednesday. You fly out to Chicago on Thursday. And then you got 3 against the White Sox, who are a tough team on top of the American League Central. And then you got the Seattle Mariners, a team who is only 4 games behind you in the wild card spot. Now, here's my question for you, Devin. Did you expect the Seattle Mariners to even still be in the playoff race as we talk here on September 4th?
I mean, I got to ask you, Nick, what person on that team like really like pounces out at you like, oh wow, they still have him, Kyle
Other
Seager.
than Mitch Haniger.
Yeah, those
Other,
two bats.
other
But
than
what
those
else?
two, other
What
than
else?
those two,
What else
other
did
than
the
those
Mariners
two, I
have?
can't tell you. I cannot tell you who's on the Seattle Mariners. I couldn't tell
No,
you.
I couldn't either. Other than Mitch Haniger and Kyle Seager or Corey, whichever brother is on that team, I really couldn't like. I wouldn't be talking about saying, oh, the Seattle Mariners are 4 games out, potentially making a wild card spot. Do I see them making the playoffs? No, I don't think so. Because if they lose more games to great competition, I don't see it happening.
I mean, the Mariners, they just lost 2 out. Recently, they just lost 3 out of 4 to the Kansas City Royals, so that should explain a lot to you there.
Right.
So as you see on the bottom of your screen, you got these standings going on around there. Pop up the wild card things that they go. Yankees game and a half over you. The Red Sox staying pat at second place. With the loss last night, the A's fell to 3 games, the Mariners down to 4, the Blue Jays hanging on at 5, and the Angels, for some reason, they're 10 games back in 6th place, even though the Angels don't have a snowball's chance of catching anyone. Look at the Dodgers, 13.5 games up on the Cincinnati Reds.
Seems like it's Dodgers Reds.
Padres are only a half game out, Cardinals a game and a half, Phillies 2 games out, and the Mets, surprisingly, are 4 games out for being a 500 team at this point.
That's interesting.
So really, I think it's safe to say that the Dodgers or Giants are going to be hosting the NL wildcard game. It just depends who wins that division.
Because that division's tight, I think, for the Dodgers.
Dodgers trail the Giants by 1 game. They were tied entering last night. The Giants won on a walk-off error.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know how disappointing it would be for the Dodgers not to make the playoffs with this roster that they have?
No. Want to know how disappointing it would be for the Dodgers to blow a 13.5 game lead for the first wild card?
Get this, and
that would be equivalent to the Red Sox blowing a 10 game lead against the Rays in 2011. And if you just want to get a little happy, equivalent to the Maple Leafs blowing a 3-0 lead to the Bruins, equivalent to the Falcons coughing up a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl, and say the Celtics giving up I think they did do this last year, give up 28 points to the Oklahoma City Thunder or something?
I think it was like 30 or something like that or whatnot.
Yeah, whatever. It's equivalent to that. In baseball, you play every day.
It's just with this team, anything can happen. It really could. With this whole division, I mean, Dodgers could lose maybe 13 straight games. I mean, Mookie Betts has been on and off, being hurt and injured. I thought with the acquisition of Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, it would be an easy, World Series happening for the Dodgers, but it's not looking like that right now for the Dodgers, if you ask me.
No, and going back on and looking at that Mookie Betts trade, what are we, 18, 19 months past that already?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the whole Tom Brady era.
A year and a half after the fact?
Yeah.
Was it a good trade for the Red Sox to make?
I think it was, because we got pretty good prospects in Jeter Downs and Connor Wong, and we got pretty good play in Alex Verdugo, who's doing an amazing job taking over Mookie Betts' place, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox lucked out because they did have a guy MLB ready, and he was motivated to play here in Boston. The Red Sox were his favorite team.
Yeah,
growing up. So that just gave him an extra jolt of energy to really give it his all here.
Yeah.
And look, Verdugo's been a huge piece. Do we know what we have out of Connor Wong yet? Not exactly, but does he have potential? Sure. Jeter Downs, we have no clue, because if you've seen his numbers in Worcester, he just blows. He can't hit. He can't.
I mean, here's the thing. If you ask me, did I want more pieces in the trade for Mookie Betts from the Dodgers? Sure. Yes, sure. I did. I would have loved to take maybe an AJ Pollock, maybe I don't know, Seager, Bellinger would have been nice.
No way you're going to get a Seager or Bellinger. No way. I would have settled for a bullpen arm. I would have settled for a bullpen arm.
Would you have taken Kenley Jansen?
I don't think the Dodgers would have given him up, but If they gave him to us, yeah, I'd take Kenley Jansen. Why not?
I would have taken Joe Kelly back.
Kenley Jansen couldn't do any worse than the morons you got now.
Yeah.
He really couldn't. And yeah, I'd take Joe Kelly back.
Yeah,
I'd take him. I'd take him back in a heartbeat.
I think they would have probably sent
anyone in that bullpen. Have anyone in that bullpen in 2018 for as much as a headache that they gave fans, and even in the games that they won,
right,
which was a lot of them, the bullpen was like, oh my God, why are you doing this? Out of all of them, the only guy with a true sack in that bullpen was Joe Kelly. He was the only one that actually had a sack.
I would have also taken who would have probably accepted a bench role. I think his name is AJ Pollock, outfielder. Mm-hmm. He would have been a decent piece to send over from the Dodgers. I don't really think they use him a lot, so I think he would have been great on our bench.
But looking at the Red Sox, the current state of the Red Sox right now, Chris Sales since coming back, he has been boisterous in there. You got all these young guys playing from Worcester right now.
Yeah,
it's a depleted roster, but you're starting to see the fight again that this team showed in April, May, June, I'd say maybe a good portion of July, a good portion of it. Would you say that the Red Sox are going to play themselves right back into the AL East race, or is the division completely out of the picture and just focus on the wild card?
I think that maybe if the Red Sox keep playing like they've done the past couple of games, I mean, you have to give another shout out to Jonathan Awa-Uz. He's been playing great for the Boston Red Sox, and even in that game against Cleveland Friday night, hitting that go-ahead 3-run shot from being down 3-1 or 2-0, and to hit that shot to win the ball game basically for the Red Sox. And he hit a solo shot last night, his second, I think third in the major, second of the year. But this team has, I know I've said a lot of crap about the Red Sox on Wednesday and Tuesday, but I'm switching the gears. I think that with Kyle Schwarber in the lineup, which is kind of huge for the Red Sox, I think he's the answer that the Red Sox faithful has been looking for this past month. And we've been excited. We said, yeah, it was a decent move to acquire Kyle Schwarber at the break. You and I probably didn't know that he would be coming to the Red Sox. We were thinking he'd probably go to a team.
He's become a huge piece.
Yeah, he's been lovable here at Fenway. I think the fans love him.
And honestly, he's better than the two schmuck pitchers that you pulled out of Minnesota and Pittsburgh, who still stink. They've found a couple of nuts here and there, the two, but they still stink.
I mean, if I'm Bloom right now, and if the offseason were to happen a couple weeks, months from here, the first thing I'm doing is re-signing Kyle Schwarber here, because he is a big bat that we could use for a long time. And he's young too, which is great.
Schwarber's not going to come cheap, though. That's the thing. Schwarber's going to want a nice payday, and this is where I've really lost it. The Red Sox, really, from the trade deadline to really even back in 2019 when they wanted to get under the luxury tax and all that other happy crap.
Right.
They don't want to go over that luxury tax because of all the penalties. Well, what's more important? And I've said this over and over again. I'm waiting for someone to give me a flipping answer here, whether it's the Red Sox themselves or just anyone. What's more important? Saving a couple $1 million and just screwing your fans by upping ticket prices and concessions, or winning? Do you want to win the World Series every year, or do you want to become the Tampa Bay Rays, have 16 losing seasons, you become a blind squirrel that finds a nut every now and then 2 years later become another squirrel that finds a freaking acorn, get to the World Series, get your absolute pants blown off, and then you suck for another 10 years?
Right.
What do you want to be? The northern version of the Tampa Bay Rays / Baltimore Orioles? Or do you want to be the Boston Red Sox who are going to compete with the New York Yankees for a World Series year in, year out? Because I'll tell you, ever since they let Theo Epstein walk out that door in 2011,
yep,
they have gotten cheap as freaking dirt.
Yeah.
Epstein was not afraid to sign anyone. Neither was Dombrowski. I'm not giving Dombrowski any due diligence here.
Hey, he was the one that got us Chris Sale and JD. Don't forget.
Yep.
Dombrowski.
Yep. But and however, though, Dombrowski, and this is the difference between Theo and Dombrowski. Theo, he went out to spend money, but also wouldn't not give up the farm system, knowing that he still had a lot of talent down there that he didn't want to get touched.
Right.
Dombrowski, on the other hand, he just gutted the farm system completely, left it nothing but a skeleton. He left it looking like the Grim Reaper, for God's sakes, and in order to get the World Series, which I appreciate. I'll take the 119 wins and the World Series title that goes along with it.
Yeah.
But that's the cost. And now Giant Bloom is here, and Bloom's credit, he rebuilt the farm system. The farm system looks good. You still got to care about the big league club, though, because that is the biggest moneymaker right there.
Exactly.
Look, rebuild the farm system, stash away some of these prospects. Fine, still do that, but don't be afraid to spend a little extra money for the big league club to compete right now. And that's the big thing. Use that money to compete right now. Yes, the Red Sox have overexceeded expectations. Nobody saw the Red Sox coming. Look, if the Red Sox were 14 and a half games out of first place come July 30th, 10 games below 500, and they decided to not make the move or trade off a couple pieces like a JD or whatever, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. We're not going anywhere anyway. So what would I have cared? I would have taken on Hanzo Robles and Austin Davis. I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, sure, you two schmucks will fit right in. We're a team of schmucks. No. You got, what was it at the time? 14, 15 games above 500 at the time?
Yeah, by June,
A game and a half above the Rays in first place. And you just want I'm not saying you had to go out and get a Max Scherzer or, a Steven Strasburg, a Clayton Kershaw, or anything like that.
I would have been fine with the Jose Barrios. I would have been fine if we acquired him.
I would have been fine with Daniel Hudson. Yeah. I would have been perfectly happy with a back of the end rotation guy, like a Jameson Taillon for the Yankees, like a John Lester. I would have loved to welcome Lester back. Right, that wrong for 7 years ago.
I would have loved him. He went to the Cardinals. I was like, really? We could have had him back.
Yeah, he's on a cheap contract, just like Schwarber. You're telling me you couldn't get John Lester and just tell the Nationals saying, hey, can you retain half of his salary if you're that concerned on money? Like exactly. All you have to do is just tell these teams saying, hey, can you recoup a couple $1,000,000 and everything for this guy? I think that those teams would be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Especially the Nationals who just don't care. They've gutted their team. The Cubs gutted their team because they know that they're going to stink for the next few years. And
yeah,
how the money have fallen for those two teams. Cubs World Series winners. What was it? 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Now they're going right back into the basement. Only reason why they're going to stay in fourth place constantly because the Pittsburgh Pirates blow.
I mean, out of the 4 Cubs that have been traded elsewhere, Kimbrel, Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez, which do you think is performing well for their better team?
Oh, Anthony Rizzo by far. He's comfortable. I think he's gone comfortable in New York, and that Red Sox fans that should really scare you.
Yeah,
because why? You gave Rizzo away for basically Theo. You basically sent Theo to Chicago willingly. And you just gave them Anthony Rizzo, like with literally no price tag. You didn't care.
Really?
And do I blame Rizzo for not wanting to play for the Red Sox for an organization that did essentially give up on him? No, I really don't. You just got to pray to God that he decides to go back to not the White Sox, to the Cubs in the offseason if he just misses Chicago that much. That's what you need to hope for, that he takes his happy little butt back to Wrigley Field where he's not going to hurt you.
Right.
You had to face him in the weekend series come, I believe it's like the first second weekend in July next year.
Right.
But other than that, you don't have to see him.
Seems like, I mean.
Yeah, so what do you want to do? Face Rizzo only, three games out of a 162 game schedule, or 19 times.
Yeah, I'd rather go with option number one.
Yeah, I go option number one, or the best case scenario, you don't have to deal with them at all.
Exactly. I mean, I would have loved to see him, play for us, but surprisingly, Bobby Dalbec has been doing well for the Boston Red Sox. He won the Rookie of the Month. Kudos to Bobby Dalbec.
And honestly, I think it's the trade rumors of the Red Sox looking down first baseman that finally gave Bobby Dalbec a bit of a wake-up call, saying, hey, moron, either wake up or your happy butt's going back down to Worcester and you're going to stay there until you figure it out.
Exactly.
It's almost like Pedroia and everything. Only difference was Pedroia heard the noise a month into the season and it woke him up. And it Pedroia literally just gave the middle finger to everyone.
Right.
Bobby Dalbec, on the other hand, it took until August for him to figure it out, saying, hey, they're trying to figure out people to replace me with and send me back down to AAA. I got to turn it up. I mean, hey, better late than never. I'll take it. But where was this, 2-3 months ago?
That's what I'm saying,
When the Red Sox would not be in the position that they are in right. Well, I can't say that they won't be. This still probably could have happened.
Right.
But they could have been in a much better situation at the trade deadline lead-wise. So they could afford a couple of weeks of playing mediocrely to pretty bad baseball.
Basically, I mean,
the month of August was just horrendous. It was horrendous.
I have a feeling that September will be a better, month for the Red Sox.
It has to be. It's the last month of the season.
Yeah.
The season ends 4 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5 weeks from tomorrow, the season ends in Washington, D.C. And after that, will you be in the playoffs or will you not be? If you get the wild card, will you be the number 1 wild card or number 2 wild card?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I'm telling you, I'd feel a lot more comfortable for the Red Sox in that wild card game.
Yeah.
If that game was being played at Fenway Park.
I would accept that.
If you had to go to New York or Oakland, or even say by some miracle Seattle or Toronto again,
right?
You're screwed.
I mean, here's the thing: I would rather have a wild card game being played at Fenway Park than Yankee Stadium.
Now, flip side of that, if you do have to travel to the NL wild card game,
yeah,
it's a lot easier to go from DC to New York. A whole lot easier. It's not that far of a ride. You stay on the East Coast rather than having to go from DC all the way out to Oakland, California, all the way across the country. You want to force the A's and the Mariners to do that,
right?
No, and you don't want to go north of the border again to Toronto. You just don't want to do that. So, do I think the Blue Jays can get in there? If they keep playing the way this way, and that's good. Look, all the Red Sox have to do is this. Don't worry about what the Yankees are doing. Don't worry about what the A's are doing. Don't worry about what the Mariners are doing. Don't worry about what the Toronto Blue Jays are doing.
No.
Focus on the team that you're playing on that day.
Yeah.
Everything else will fall into place. Worry about the Mariners when you play the Mariners a week from Monday. Worry about the Yankees when you play them in a couple of weeks. Worry about the Rays on Monday through Wednesday, even though I think the Rays might have this whole division wrapped up then.
Right.
But either way, though, I do want to give everyone some magic numbers here, as it's that time again. It's the elimination magic numbers for the playoffs and the divisions. So right now, the Red Sox are not completely out of the AL East race at all. However, the Rays' magic number to win the division is 22. However, though, for the Red Sox, your magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 24.
Okay.
Still a long way to go. Long way to go.
Very long.
But just want to let everyone know this, just that way, if they're confused on how the elimination number works. And I'm just going to use the Red Sox and the A's because they're right there at 2-3. Red Sox win a game, A's lose a game. That elimination number goes down by 2. Red Sox win, A's win. The magic number goes down by 1. And same thing, if both the Red Sox and the A's lose, it goes down by 1.
Yeah.
If the Red Sox lose and the A's win, that number doesn't go anywhere, thankfully. But the games behind, though, for the A's, that goes lower.
Seems like it.
So
it'll be a very interesting month of September, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the Red Sox still got 25 games left.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of baseball left to be played.
I mean, we can't win 100 games, but we're on a pace for a 90-win season, I think.
Yeah, just win.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just win.
Like they say, win and you're in.
Yeah, and right now, as we sit here on September 4th, this is Saturday, first weekend of September, Labor Day weekend. Just go out there and try to beat the Cleveland Indians today. Go out there and try to beat the Cleveland Indians tomorrow and worry about the top of your division on Monday.
Yeah.
That's it.
Get back.
That's it.
When we get the majority of our lineup back.
All the Red Sox can do is just control what they can control, and that is just winning a ball game that's already in front of them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what's going on in Toronto or Oakland. I don't give a rat's ass what's going on in Yankee Stadium. I don't care what's going on down in Tampa Bay in that god-awful ballpark. Don't care. Focus on what's going on between the white lines and the game that you're playing. You do that, everything else will fall into place and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. I think, by the end of September, you and I will still be talking about the wild card matchup between the Yankees and the Red Sox. I just have a good feeling.
Yep. All right. Switching gears here now to the National Football League. Devin and I still got some leftover thoughts about the Patriots from Wednesday night. So, Devin, just any other thoughts they have about the Patriots as they prepare for Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins next Sunday? Think about that. Week 1 of the NFL season next Sunday.
Well, in technicality, it starts Thursday night when we have.
Well, from the Patriots standpoint.
Thank you for clearing that up. But for the Patriots standpoint, we have eight days left until Sunday afternoon football on CBS. I'm about to say NBC because I was just thinking about carrying Underwood. I'm sorry. I already have the theme song stuck in my head as we speak. But I can't wait, Nick. I'm excited about this team. We've got a lot of weaponries. Here's a question I have for you. Do you think by the end of Week 6, Stephon Gilmore will be on the Patriots, or could he be traded? What are your thoughts on that?
I expect him to be on the field for the Patriots, but will not be surprised if Belichick decides to flip him for a second-round pick, because that's really all Gilmore's worth. A year ago, Gilmore's worth a first-rounder. You could easily get a first-rounder for him. Now, he's worth a second-rounder because of the injury. So it's that simple. But I expect Stephon Gilmore to play. I'm hoping to God that Jarrett Stidham will be cut after Week 6 because
he's still injured, dealing with his injury.
I know. He's still injured. He can stay injured for how bad he is. Also, him and Brian Hoyer.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, at least we got rid of Cam Newton, which I was surprised. As you see in the bottom, it was a surprise cut. Nobody saw it coming. Right.
Now look, am I saying that Mac Jones didn't deserve to get the starting job over Cam Newton? No, Mac Jones outperformed him in every aspect that there possibly was. Mac Jones kicked Cam Newton's ass 8 ways to Sunday for the starting job. Because I still rather have Cam Newton here to back up Mac Jones in the event that Mac Jones goes down for whatever reason. You still got a legit shot to win the game compared to Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham, who both are good for at least an interception or two.
Here's the thing that kind of surprised me. It's just that kind of worries me for the season. Like, I'm not saying it will happen, and knock on wood. But what if Mac Jones tears his ACL? I'm just saying.
It's true.
It could happen, and he's out for the whole year.
If Mac Jones goes down at any point, you're screwed.
We have no quarterbacks on the roster.
You're screwed. Yeah.
We have absolutely zero. We don't
Well,
have
Brian Hoyer is going to be. Brian Hoyer should be back by now. Brian
he's
Hoyer
not-
will be back. Brian Hoyer will be back on the roster before week 1. He'll
I
be
think
back on the roster before week 1.
I think he signed to the practice squad last time. Him and Wilkerson or whatnot.
Yeah, they'll release a guy and they'll call Hoyer out. You need a backup quarterback in this league.
Because right now we have none.
Yeah, right now Mac Jones is the only quarterback.
Yeah,
And whose fault is that?
If
And whose fault is that? It's Bills.
If you want to throw in Jacoby Myers as our backup, sure. He's the only option that we have.
No, let's keep Jacoby Myers out of the backfield.
No, I'm just saying if Mac Jones goes down.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying your other quarterback options, realistically, practice squad included. I'm just including practice squad and everyone because it's stupid to say you only have one quarterback when realistically you got two. Realistically, you got two of them just sitting on the side.
Right.
If Mac Jones goes down for any reason this year, you better be crapping your pants if you're seeing Brian Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham trot their fat asses out there, and that should just scare the absolutely living crap out of you.
Right.
You didn't have a choice in it last year with Cam Newton going down. That's fine. But, now, if Mac Jones goes down, do you really trust Brian Hoyer? I don't.
No.
Do you trust Jarrett Stidham? I don't trust either of those two as far as I could throw them.
I mean, if you were to ask who played better in the Kansas City game, I'd say I don't know. I'm torn between either.
Stidham at least knew how many timeouts he had.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
Stidham, Brian Hoyer, who has zero awareness of where he was. He looked like a deer in the headlights, or looked like little kids staring at the ball pit, like, oh, pretty colored balls.
He looked like Tom Brady, not knowing what down it was.
The Bucs had the last lap. They found that meme and said, "Hey, Tommy, how many playoff games did it take you to win? 4." So the Bucs had fun with that one at the expense of the NFL.
Yeah, which was true. They beat
the
football team.
Hey, NFL fans had fun at the expense of Tom Brady. The Bucs had fun on the expense of NFL fans and the expense of their own quarterback too.
They beat the football team. They beat the Green Bay Pack. They beat the Breeze. They beat Packers, and to finish off, they beat Kansas City. I'm still surprised they did that. I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes did not look like himself during that.
What O-line did he have? Well, what O-line did he have?
Yeah, he had Fisher. That was out.
It was his second string offensive line. So what do you expect? He's going to run around like a chicken with his head cut off.
That's what he was playing.
That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
Although some of the off balance throws he made, they were
unbelievable.
Right on the numbers, and Hill and Kelsey just dropped them. Yeah. Those are catches that they're making all year.
I'm still shocked to say that he got them off. I was just like, oh wow, he got that off. Damn.
Yep. Anyway, back up here where people actually care. They don't care about what's going on down in Kansas City, Missouri, or, well, a portion cares about what's going on down in Tampa Bay.
Right.
There's still a bunch of Brady Bobos up here. So, anyway, you look at the backup quarterback situation. You got Hoyer and Stidham in the building. You got both of those two in the building. Cam Newton is out of there.
Yeah.
If Mac Jones goes down, you better be making a phone call to Cam Newton. Just want to know why? Cam Newton gives you your only legitimate shot to even do anything.
Basically,
I have zero. Brian Hoyer sucks as the starting quarterback. You already know what you're going to get out of Stidham. He just looks absolutely clueless in practice. Because if Stidham was ready, Stidham would be starting. Stidham would have started over Cam Newton at any point last year, but he didn't. Easily. Why? Because he wasn't understanding the offense. He couldn't understand the offense. Mac Jones did. Mac Jones in the building, not even a week. He understood what his job was.
I mean,
stay in the pocket and throw.
I think both you and I are surprised that we never saw this coming. If I were to ask you this and say if Cam Newton wasn't cut, say he was a starting quarterback for the New England Patriots right now, we'd be like, oh, we saw this coming, that Cam Newton would be the starter and Mac Jones would be the backup. No. In all honesty, I'm excited and I'm kind of confused and I'm kind of like, why? But here's the thing. I think,
the Cam not being named the starter, that's an obvious one. I had a feeling Mac Jones was going to be named the starter. Anyway, I was so hell-bent that Cam Newton was going to be the starter because of Bill's stubborn streak and how he just has to prove a point. So Mac Jones starting, it really didn't surprise me because Mac Jones has outperformed Cam Newton in every single aspect.
Right.
But for Newton to get outright cut, it was like, oh, okay. So what's this about? Did he not want to be a backup quarterback? Did he not want to be used in like a special wildcat option here or what? Because I think I heard one option is like, I heard this on the radio and I found it completely and utterly stupid. I still found this option stupid. If you're on an offensive drive, Cam leads you down the end of the field, but then you get to the 20-yard line in the red zone, you put in Mac Jones to finish it off. It's like, first off,
that'd be stupid.
It is because you're saying you're pissing off two quarterbacks. You aggravate you PO Cam Newton because he says, "Oh, okay, this team has zero faith in me to lead an 80-yard touchdown drive." And Mac Jones will look at it saying, "Do they not have confidence in me to lead an 80-yard drive?"
That's what I'd be thinking.
Yeah. So realistically, if you did that route, you'd have two PO quarterbacks. You'd have an offense that would not know who is actually supposed to be out on the field.
No.
So the receivers would be in jumbles, and guess what? Yeah, you would have been probably even worse than 7-9 last year. You probably could have been 6-11, 5-12 because the offense would have been brain dead. So you took care of that. It's going to be Mac Jones from start to finish. Fine, good, great. But you don't keep Cam Newton on as a backup quarterback. Just tell Cam, listen, we're keeping you here as a mentor for Mac Jones. Right. And I get why Brian Hoyer's here to mentor Mac Jones to help him ease him into the NFL. That's fine. That's about the only thing Brian Hoyer is useful for.
Right.
You don't want to see Brian Hoyer throwing a pass because there's a 99% chance it'll get intercepted.
Exactly. Because here's the thing.
Releasing Cam just still makes zero sense for me because and whether Cam wanted to be the backup or not, you could have told him is either you be the backup and you keep your $3.5 million guaranteed. He kept it anyway. It's either you take this extra $2.1 million that you have a chance to make as a backup, or you just kick you to the curb. They kicked him to the curb.
So here's my question for you. Does your record for the Patriots change when it was Cam the quarterback, or does it change now that Mac Jones is the quarterback? Like, what was your record that you had for the Patriots if Cam Newton was the starter?
Anywhere around 9-8, 10-7.
Now, does it change now that Mac Jones is a starter?
No, only difference is I'm rolling out the 9-8 completely. I still think you're doing 10-7 just because you're playing in a tough division. You're playing in a tough conference. So I still have this team going at least 10-7, but possibly squeaking in the playoffs.
Okay, so I think I had mine at 10-7. Now I'm kind of switching it to 12-5.
The Patriots. I'm saying Pat 10-7. I think Jones will get off to a hot start.
Yeah,
but then NFL defenses will finally catch up to him, and he's gonna have a couple. He's gonna have a couple decently games. He's gonna have a couple crap games. So I think Jones will get out to a nice, good, hot start. But then after that, NFL defense is gonna figure him out, and he's gonna hit a bit of a rough patch. But then he'll turn it on again late in the year.
Right. I mean,
he's a rookie. He's a rookie. He's going to be expected to make mistakes. He's the first round quarterback since Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah.
To start the same year he was drafted. And let's remind ourselves, Drew Bledsoe was the number 1 overall pick in 1993. Where was Bill Belichick in 1993? I believe he was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
He was in La La Land.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I think this team is going to have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. I think this is going to be a fun Patriots team to watch. Defensively, I think we're going to do great. Offensively, I think we're going to be spectacular, even though I kind of question Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne because I don't know how they're going to do.
I still question. Look, Jacoby Myers, does he have the capability to be that number one option? Yes. Will that still take him some time to do? Yes. You still do not have a legitimate number one, even when Julian Edelman was still here.
Yeah.
And you still had Brady. You still had no true number one.
No.
Was Edelman your number one guy? Yes, he absolutely was. Edelman was your number one man.
Right.
He was your de facto number one man because everyone else around him sucked.
Basically.
Even with Julian Edelman, and this is something that Patriot fans had to swallow their pride on, Julian Edelman was never a true number one option. Brady has never had a true number one option in his entire career with the Patriots. You can say Troy Brown, Deion Branch, David Patton, all those other guys. Yeah, because Brady made them really good. Because Brady could get the ball to them. If you want to say Randy Moss in there, sure. Yeah, Randy Moss was the only true number one option that Tom Brady had.
I mean,
everybody else, he had to mold them into it.
Now that you mentioned David Patton, rest in peace, and he died in a motorcycle accident, age 47, which is kind of depressing to see. A good Patriots wide receiver, 3-time Super Bowl champ, David Patton. Man, sorry to hear about that. You were a great wide receiver for the Patriots.
Caught the only touchdown and got the only offensive touchdown for the Patriots in Super Bowl 36. Right in back in the end zone. Saw that highlight earlier today. I was like, whew.
Exactly, But Heaven's gained another legend. It's sad to see all these legends go away. Yeah. So sorry to bring up this sad moment, but I
was going to get to that at the end of the show, but we brought it up anyway. But we'll go back to that anyway.
Yeah.
We'll go back to it
anyway. But here's the thing. I'm more excited to see Kyle Van Noy and Matthew Judon together for the very first time ever since preseason. I think those two together are going to be amazing. I think Bill Belichick needs to play Winovich more because I think that he has a Clay Matthews kind of like a Surtain to him a little bit with the long hair. And I think he can. Yes, he's only put there to sack people, but I think if you put him in coverage, he'll be a pretty decent guy.
Yeah. I'm not. This Patriots defense is the least of my worries. I mean, will the defense have their struggles and everything? Sure.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Every defense does. But the defense, again, is the least of my concerns because you did beef up the defense anyway, like you always do.
Exactly.
My main concern is the offense. Even still with a capable quarterback in Mac Jones, I still have concerns about him. I have concerns about the offense as a whole, the receiving core, the offensive line. The whole offense as a whole is what's going to make or break this Patriots team, whether they're a playoff team or they're on the outside looking in. Whether they still go 10-7 and miss the playoffs, they go 9-8, or they finish below 500 at 8-9, 7-10, or if you really want to get cute and really just aggravate the crap out of me, 8-1.
Oh God!
Just pray that no team ties this year. Just pray that no team ties.
That's the one thing the NFL needs to work on: ties. Like there's no ties in the NBA, no ties in baseball, no ties in hockey.
Please abolish the tie NFL. I've been asking this for years.
Exactly. Like, if there's a double overtime, if there's another overtime, go into another one. They do it
do a field goal competition for all I care. I don't care.
They even did it in Madden when you and I had that one match. Remember, you kicked the field goal, you thought you won the game, and then there's like, wait a minute, we're going into a second overtime?
Yeah, that made no sense.
Where is this in the regular game?
Yeah. It made absolutely zero sense.
Exactly. You and I were confused. I was like, "Oh, good game, Nick. You won on a field goal because you and I didn't score."
Yeah, then say kickoff. What?
You were so. Oh my God!
I was so confused and mad.
You were just like, "What?"
It's like I won the game.
Exactly. If only they did that in the real life game, I could understand, and I'd be more happy. If the NFL made a rule that says there cannot be any ties, and if an overtime game is tied, they go into a second one. Great, make it like they do for the playoffs. Go into more overtimes. That's what they need to realize. Because I know the playoffs they matter more than the regular season.
Lower the time. Look, lower the time and everything, so that we're not completely killing the players.
Right.
The overtime's already 10 minutes long. So the first overtime 10 minutes, and then you just go and they just go like 7 minutes the rest of the way just to help keep the players, fresh and you're not killing them.
Exactly. Until somebody wins a ball game, I'd rather see a 10-7 record than a 9-6-1 or 9-7-1. That just looks weird on your resume.
Yeah, and ties screw up the whole standings. The ties screw you up.
Right, because there's no other ties in sports. Like, you don't say, after the bottom of the 9th inning, that's it. That's going to be a tie for baseball. Imagine if they made that rule, you can't go into extra innings for baseball. You know how many pissed off baseball fans that would be?
There'd be 0 baseball fans left. 0.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be 2020. It'd be 2020 all over, Dan. The only difference is there are no COVID restrictions.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad that they're going to have the rules changed back into for extra innings, not having that stupid runner on second base.
Thank God.
And having doubleheaders 9 innings.
Yeah, getting rid of 7 inning doubleheaders. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
I don't get me wrong. I like the 7 inning doubleheader and everything. It just doesn't work for Major League Baseball. It works for the minors.
Weird.
It works for the minors. It doesn't work for MLB. Look, last year I understood he just wanted to get the games played and over with.
Yeah.
This year,
Here's the thing. After the year 2022, everything will be going back to normal. Thank you.
Yeah. After this season, baseball looked like what it did back in 2019.
Exactly.
9 inning doubleheaders. No one on base. We get extra innings. Thank you. All right. So, do want to get to one other thing here in the NFL before we wrap it up. The whole Deshaun Watson situation. Now it's just gotten either cute or stupid or a combination of both. Either way, someone's in that down there in Houston. It's probably Nick Cario, who's probably not even thinking right now because he's in too many ribeye steaks.
I mean, my question is, Nick, what team would be interested in a guy that has 20 evictions with these other girls? Like, seriously.
What team is stupid enough to hand you either 3 first-round picks or 5 players and a draft pick, but it has to be a high pick?
Like, seriously.
What?
I've heard like the contenders are Miami and the Eagles. What?
That's it because the Eagles and the Dolphins, those are the only 2 offensive schemes that fit Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Dolphins, it seems like you would have to give up.
And probably, look, of the 2 teams that are probably dumb enough to give the Texans somewhat close to what they want, sadly, it's the Eagles. Because the Eagles are that stupid. Because the Eagles are going to be that desperate to keep up with Dallas, keep up with, say, the Giants, or keep up with Washington. And also because Philly is a huge sports city, like Boston, like New York. They get criticized the most out there, too, along with the Phillies. So they got to do something to stay relevant, and getting Deshaun Watson helps. But again, I don't think Howie Roseman is that dumb. I don't think he's that dumb.
Everyone knows that no matter what, you're going to have to give up your starting quarterback for Deshaun Watson. And I don't think Miami's ready to give up Tua yet. If I was Miami Dolphins, I'd give it a year or 2. And if Tua is the answer that the Miami Dolphins are looking for, great. Start him for many years. If he's not, then I can see them possibly trying to get Deshaun Watson and trying to make him into
in Watson's case, so A, you can't wait too long. B, look, he has other issues he needs to worry about. He needs to get these legal issues put away, done with, so that way he can move forward from it.
Yeah.
But look, both the Texans and Watson are both to blame here. Because first off, Deshaun Watson still signed a contract even after Bill O'Brien traded away his number 1 receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. He still signed that contract even after the trade. All he had to do was reject the contract extension. Bing, bang, boom. He would have been a free agent this offseason, free to go wherever the hell he wanted to.
That would have been interesting. Like, where do you think he would have signed? I swear to God. I swear.
I think anyone would have loved him.
Huh?
If he came up to New England, Mac Jones would not be here.
You don't think so?
If you were able to sign Deshaun Watson in free agency, you could have kicked Cam to the curb. You would have just rolled with Hoyer and Stidham. Mac Jones would be probably somewhere in like Detroit or whatever, and his entire career would be wasted, just like they wasted the careers of Matt Stafford, Barry Sanders, and Calvin Johnson.
Right. I mean, it would have been interesting to have DeAndre Hopkins, one of the top five, number one wide receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. But, I think it would have been a great receiver. I think he would have been a great start for this Patriots offseason. It would have been interesting, you know?
But look, Watson signed the contract. He committed to the Texans long term. He needs to honor that contract. Now, look, I get it. The Texans want him to focus on the legal stuff. They don't want him playing on the field to serve as a distraction.
Right.
That's fine. Why the hell are you still taking up a roster spot for the knucklehead?
Right.
Either way, the Texans have to pay him $10.5 million to not play.
Right.
They just got to hope that the NFL is able to just get him out of the building, so that way he's not a complete distraction.
Well,
you still have to pay the nut, but at least you don't have to see him in the building. Right now, you have to see him in the building. You have to see him at practice. He has to be on that sideline too, because he's part of the active roster, just for him to wear street clothes.
Yo, I just had the biggest brain fart. I'm here talking about, I think you're talking about DeAndre Hopkins, and that's why I'm saying that he was the number one wide receiver. And then I hear you talking about what I was like, oh my God, I'm probably
back to the Watson situation.
Right. But here's the thing, like having, now I understand with, what you just said, because I'm like, why would he want to, sign here? And then I'm thinking, oh, okay. Now I understand why he said that, Mac Jones would have wasted his time up in the Detroit Lions, because I'm thinking, why are we talking about receivers if he's talking about Mac Jones? But now I understand your thoughts on,
about Watson, you knucklehead.
Yeah. Now I'm hearing Watson. I'm like, oh, we got him from Hopkins to Watson.
I was using Hopkins as an example, you dodo.
Right. But yes, I do understand, but I understand what you're saying now. Like, with Deshaun Watson signing here, he would have been the best option for the Patriots. Cam Newton, I don't think he would have been here, which I understand your point now. Mac Jones probably would. I don't know. He probably would have.
Probably wouldn't. Maybe he still would have been drafted, but sit behind Deshaun Watson.
No,
maybe. I mean, we don't know, because those are all now just what ifs. Now the what ifs for Watson is, will he play in the NFL again? Will he play in the NFL again?
Well, here's my question. It would have been, save Deshaun
I think Watson. He will.
Right. So let's have the scenario. Say if Deshaun Watson signed as a free agent here in New England, would have Bill Belichick signed Cam Newton to that 1-year offer? I don't think so.
No.
And it would have been an interesting situation here if, say, with this whole allegation going through Deshaun Watson's head, and he signed a huge contract with the Patriots, having us signing Mac Jones. Now, with Bill Belichick, when he hears schemes like this,
Belichick says get out from under the rug.
Right. So
Belichick would have released Deshaun Watson for any of his money became guaranteed.
Belichick would have released ever.
Belichick would have released him before any of his money became guaranteed. We saw with Brandon Spikes years ago. He signed a 1-year contract to the Patriots to return there. He got into legal trouble a week later, and within that same week, Belichick got him. Belichick released him before he could even pay him a penny.
Same with Antonio Brown, the situation a couple of years ago. He had allegations and whatnot. Bill Belichick, Antonio Brown scored a touchdown in a Patriots uniform. Great, fantastic. We had the best wide receiving core in the NFL in Brown, Demaryius Thomas, and Josh Gordon and Edelman. But after that,
that was a makeshift receiving core. It was not the best. You stop that right now. That was not the best. It was not.
Are you kidding? How could you not say that?
2019. No Gronkowski. No Emmett. You had a bunch of freaking schmucks in 2019. You had N'Keal Harry. Jacoby Myers, you had no clue what it was. You had a broken down Edelman. You had Antonio Brown to that. You add that just to save a little bit of face, but you don't go from 32 to freaking number 1. Shut up.
No, but that was our bet. When we had listen.
For that 1 week, it was a
for that 1 week. That's what I'm saying.
After that, your team's going back to number 32 out of 32.
That 1 week, I'm not saying that we had the best wide.
It wasn't the best that week either, because you still had Kansas City. They're still. many. You're still at least 3/4 of the league ahead of you in that one.
Okay, like top 10 wide receiver core.
No. In week 2, 2019, you were lucky if you cracked 20.
No, week 1 when we had Josh, we had Gordon, Thomas, Brown, and everyone.
It still wasn't number 1, and Thomas wasn't here. Thomas got cut.
Right? No, he got traded to the Jets for a draft.
Yeah, but still though, that weekend your receiving core entering week 1, 2019, you had one of the worst receiving cores in the league. Entering week 1, you did not have a top receiving core at any point in 2019. At no point did you have a top.
No, after week 3, we sucked for wide receiving core.
You had no top 10 receiving core entering week 1. So I don't know where you're coming up with that.
No, I'm saying the Miami game, we had Antonio Brown.
That 1 week it still wasn't a top 10 in the NFL. Not even close.
Top 15. Top 15.
Not even close.
32.
Yeah, because you were 32.
No, we were. That was at least top 10. You would have.
It was not. No, it was not.
No. If we would have kept Gordon, Thomas, Brown, you still would have been near the bottom of the league when it came to receiving core. Even if Antonio Brown kept his head straight, even if Josh Gordon didn't keep his head out of the clouds, it still would have been one of the weakest receiving cores ever. Right.
Why do you think Brady left here? Because for 3 freaking years he had no wide receivers.
Basically,
he amazingly won a Super Bowl. Amazingly.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole Watson thing, stupid. They're going to have time. I hope it gets cleared up with Watson in all of his legal trouble, but
they're going to have Tyrod Taylor start, and that's 0-17 right there. I'm sorry. No, here's the thing: they need to get rid of Cooks.
I don't think any team's going to go 0-17. The Texans will probably end up with the number 1 overall pick, and the quarterback draft class will be just as good, if not maybe a little bit better than the draft class that we just had here in 2021. But I don't think you're going to see a team go 0-17.
I mean, the Jets, maybe the Texans, they're going to be close.
I don't think the Jets are. The Jets will win at least 3 or 4 games at least.
I kind of want Brandon Cooks to be off the Texans team because him and Cutie are the only good wide receiver. He's the only decent receiver. He's the only decent receiver that the Texans have. So right now, you have a better receiving core than the Houston Texans. Yeah.
You got a better receiving core than about a third of the league.
The Jets, the Bengals.
You still don't have a top 10, top 15 receiving core.
No, I say we have.
You still don't. You went up. You did go up in compared to the last 3 to 4 years. You did go up, but it's still not a top receiving core.
I mean, you would have to ask me come after week 1.
You don't have a number 1. You don't have a true number 1. You don't have a true number 1.
I mean, after next weekend, you would have to ask me how well this wide receiving core will do, because you're going to have to put Olszewski in there too. You're
going to have to come back to me midway through the season, because until I see something spark, I'm still going to say you still have a mediocre to a decently to mediocre receiving core.
I agree.
It's not a bad one,
no.
And you need a number 1. You need a number 1 target.
We did upgrade from last year having N'Keal Harry, Bird, and Myers to having Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar. I'm excited to see if Kendrick Bourne, he has been very injury prone the past couple of years in his career, so we'll see how well he can perform in a New England Patriots uniform. I have very high hopes for Bourne, but I think Aguilar is going to do well too, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I
hope Bourne and Aguilar do good. I hope Jacoby Myers. I hope the whole receiving core does good.
Yeah.
But they can only get you enough because they're just a bunch of number 2s. You don't have a number 1. If Myers can become that true number 1, great. If not, but he's still a good wide receiver. He's your top receiver. It's not a bad thing, but you still have to go out and try to find your Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. I wouldn't put Cobb. Cobb's just an example. Cobb's not a top 10 receiver, but he's a good enough receiver that can be your number one.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. So until you find one of those guys, you just gotta accept the fact that you just got a bunch of number 2 wide receivers, and you just gotta play that 2 of them play like actual number 1 receivers.
Right now, I'm kind of worried about the wide receiver depth right now.
Yeah, just right now, your number 1 wide receivers, de facto number 1s.
Yeah,
it's Jacoby Myers and Nelson Aguilar, and that second number 1 option just scared the absolute crap out of you.
Unless they perform well in week 1, unless they perform well,
I need more than 1 week. I need at least 8 or 9 weeks.
Should we ask you by the Tampa Bay Bucks team?
Ask me come the Browns Patriots week 10 game.
Hey,
ask me around then.
You know why that's important?
Yeah, because we're going to that damn game.
Exactly.
And by that time, I would have my point proven.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have had my point proven to you that you don't have no 1 wide receiver. Your receiving short's still going to be decently.
I think
mediocre.
Ask me by week 4 when we have our true competition up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to see how well Bourne and Aguilar have done.
Well, I'll talk to you about the receiving for week 10.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So to wrap up the show, a couple things. So this is actually the final edition of TitleTown Throwdown. I'm not going anywhere.
You're going away?
No.
You canceled TitleTown Throwdown? Oh my god.
Oh my! Shut up. But that's because me and this goofball right over here, we are combining both the Clutch and TitleTown Throwdown into the brand new Boston Sports Show, the solo Boston Sports Show, as it should have been all along. Clutchtown USA, and that has a nice little ring to it. It's still going to be the same program. It's going to be me and Devin co-hosting here, but not much is going to change. All right, you're still going to get very optimistic Devin. You're still going to get me very, very bitchy and complaining me, but you're still going to get your Red Sox news. You're still going to get your Patriots, your Bruins, and your Celtics. You're still going to get everything. Not much is changing. Just the name.
Yeah. And we have agreed, because Nick is not a big Celtics fan, as you guys probably know.
And Devin's not a huge Bruins fan.
Exactly. So we've come to an agreement that I have to watch more Bruins game. And Nick, what do you have to do?
I'm going to start watching more Celtic games.
See? That's how we make things clutch in the Titletown. That's how we do it.
Yep. And we're going to be introducing some brand new segments and everything. But one thing will always remain the same. At the end of every show during the NFL season, Devin and I are going to give you our picks for each and every week.
Oh, yes.
Which reminds me before we actually get to the one other thing I do want to do to wrap up the show.
Yep.
We're not going to be on the air before the NFL season kicks off. So Thursday Night Football, week 1 of the NFL. Oh my God, I cannot wait for this. The Dallas Cowboys visit the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Devin, your game pick for that.
So my game pick, I'm gonna go with a dark horse, or I might be the lone wolf in this one because there's only 2 people in here. But I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are gonna shock the world and win and give Tom Brady his first loss of the season. Cowboys are gonna win 24-17. And the MVP of that game, I'm gonna go with CeeDee Lamb.
All right, I'm opposite of you. I got the Bucs winning, just really for a lot of obvious choices. I don't know how Dak Prescott's going to look after missing time in the preseason and training camp with the shoulder injury. I don't know how he's going to look really in general coming off that ankle injury. I have concerns about Dallas's offense as a whole, how well they're going to mesh together again with the healthy Prescott. The defense has some holes with it in the secondary that I think Brady's just going to absolutely torch. The Buccaneers, to bring back all 22 starters from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they got Giovanni Bernard from the Cincinnati
Bengals. Which is absolutely unheard of at this time. No team brings back the exact same 22 starters that they did for the Super Bowl the year prior. No
That's a
team
good
does
point
that.
that you brought up because
No team's done that since the Raiders.
well, I mean, now that you have Tom Brady on the team, who wouldn't want to re-sign back with him?
Who wouldn't want to get a chance to play with Tom Brady?
This is just like when he was on the Patriots. All honesty, like when he won the Super Bowl, everyone's re-signed back.
Yeah, only difference is guys who wanted to play Brady in New England, they had to take a cheap ass contract because Belichick is, up until this year was a cheap GM. Until this year because he knew that he had to go all out. Yeah. He knew this year he had to go all out because he's trying to match Brady now.
No, yeah, I agree.
So I got the Buccaneers winning opening night. I'm not MVP of the game, or player of the game as we're going to do it for the regular season. Player of the game, I'd say maybe Mike Evans, but I see the Bucs probably steamrolling the Cowboys to start off the year like 38-14 or whatever. I think it's going to take Dallas a couple of weeks to get with it, but after that, this should be okay because again, Dallas plays in the NFC East, and the NFC East will probably be a combined 0-8 after 2 weeks.
Possibly.
All right, so that was the announcement. That's our game pick. And so just to end the show, just going to do a moment of silence for former Patriots wide receiver, David Patton. Thank you all again for watching TitleTown Throwdown. Devin, thank you for joining on, my friend. And Devin and I will talk to you next Saturday at the same time, our same locations, but under a brand new name. It's the start of a new era, just like it is here in Foxborough.
Hey, man, thank you for putting me on your show for the last time. I can't wait to work with you till we die.
Yeah. All right, so everyone, thank you for tuning in to TitleTown Throwdown. So again, as I just said, we're going to end the show with a moment of silence for former Patriots wide receiver, David Patton.